Last time on the WizardCast.
Tonight on Unresolved Quandaries, on October 7th, 2019, a father of three, unaware of what was about to occur. A fateful encounter on a night that none shall soon forget. Returning home from the grocery store, Wisconsin resident Brian Kwong gets out of his car, retrieves the milk and his copy of Soap Opera Digest from the vehicle, and has a meeting with Destiny. Could he have had a fateful encounter with one of the forest people? Some know this mysterious creature as Sasquatch, but others know him as Bigfoot.
It was totally unexpected. Frankly, I was shocked. Shocked.
Tell me, how did you feel on the day that it happened?
Well, just fine, I guess. I mean, it was like every other day, and then it happened.
Were you startled? Afraid?
I was certainly nervous. I think anyone would be nervous in that situation.
Of course. And what did you do first?
Well, I said hello, and
You attempted to communicate.
it did seem perfectly reasonable thing to do at the time.
And what did you see?
See? What do you mean? It's an audio-only format.
We at Unresolved Quandaries have obtained an exclusive audio clip of this mysterious and fantastical situation.
Hello?
I'm here.
Wait, that's not a Bigfoot. That sounds like a human being.
Bigfoot, I thought you were interviewing me about who booked Parker Harris.
And now the conclusion of the WizardCast.
I'm Brian Kwong.
And I'm Mark Ross.
We're Salesforce experts that love talking about technology and Salesforce.
We also love humor. Doesn't mean we're actually good at it.
In the Salesforce community, I'm known as the Salesforce Wizard, likely due to me wearing a wizard hat at Salesforce events.
And I'm known as Salesforce Yoda for pretty much the same reason.
You should see the ears.
We have a passion to help educate and entertain people.
So we've joined forces to create WizardCast.
We've got tips and best practices.
We talk with interesting people.
all mixed with quote-unquote jokes and humor.
Welcome
to
the
the
WizardCast.
What do you call a skeleton? It's no. What do you call a snowman? It's half skeleton. A snowman skeleton.
That joke was submitted to us by my 4-year-old son, Lucian.
You don't say. You can submit jokes to us too. Email us at wizardcast@thewizardnews.com. Or if you're feeling brave or just want to hear your voice on our show, you can leave a voicemail by calling 608-492-0321. Make sure that you tell us your name so we can give you the credit for the jokes that you so rightly deserve.
That's right. Happy New Year, Mark.
And Happy New Year to you as well, Brian. Did you make any resolutions?
I resolved to quit all my resolutions.
And how's that going so far?
It's kind of a quandary,
Yeah?
because if I quit all my resolutions, that would include the one to quit all my resolutions,
Sure.
which I can't quit because by quitting, I would be quitting all my resolutions.
Right. So you've set yourself up with an infinite loop paradox and you don't know what to do.
My processing power just cannot handle it.
No.
But here we are. It is a new year. It's a new season of the WizardCast.
Is that when we
and,
start our seasons?
We are now because I forget to start them in April when we normally start. So
Does that mean that the last episode that we did where we ended with not knowing who booked Parker Harris was a cliffhanger? Like a season cliffhanger? Like we ended without resolving the storyline?
I think it's that we ended without singing the Marky Marky Do song.
No, it's just as well, really.
But anyways, welcome to Season 5 of the WizardCast and the Year of the Hindsight.
The year, is that what it is? I mean, the whole like Lunar New Year, I
No,
guess I would
Mark,
trust you more.
Hindsight is 2020.
Oh, see, I'm the huge D&D nerd, so I automatically think of it as the year of the double crits.
Yeah, but you only roll 120 die at a time.
Unless you have advantage.
Okay,
And then
that's
you're rolling
very
twice.
true. We are
Yeah.
such big nerds.
Yeah.
So Do you remember a warmer time, a more summerish time, when the grass was green, there were leaves on the trees, and it was not freezing?
Are you having a lot of cold days, Brian?
Yeah, actually, we've had a couple crazy days where we dropped literally 40 degrees in a 24-hour period. It's nuts. Ooh. It's been a weird winter. Anyways, this was supposed to be a segue to the interview I did at Midwest Streaming, which happened last summer, not a segue to talk about the weather.
Hold on. You have an interview that we've been sitting on for half a year?
Yes. And there's a good reason why we've been sitting on it for a half a year. Because it has to deal with the origins. It's the origin story of 100 Days of Code, now called 100 Days of Trailhead, which started at the start of this month.
Right. Okay. Oh, never mind that.
You're familiar with 100 Days of Trailhead?
100 Days of Code or 100 Days of Trailhead?
Well, it started as 100 Days of Code. It's now 100 Days of Trailhead.
Well, I think wasn't 100 Days of Code a thing that was non-Salesforce?
Yes.
Started by other people. Okay, yes. So it's been copied.
It's been kind of expanded to be more than just code.
I see. 100 days of learning something.
Basically. Yeah. And so it did start on January 1st. And this year they have 3 tracks running, which is 100 Days of Learning with Marissa Lopez and Lauren Dunn. And then we have the 100 Days of App Building with Miranda Reglin and Zara, Rachel Watson, and Jessica Murphy. And then they have 100 Days of Automation with Kelly Walker, Rakesh Gupta, helping out. I mean, it's pretty darn interesting. And I know it's a little late to the game because if I was really
by
good...
By the time the episode comes out, it'd be halfway through the month.
Yeah, but you can start 100 days at any time. It's more conceptual than anything. And it's still early enough that you should be able to jump on the bandwagon. Right.
So it feels like we're talking about everything that should be covered in the interview.
Well, because the interview is more about how did it happen? How did it come to be? Why is it important? Not necessarily what's happening right now, which you can all find out by going to 100daysoftrailhead.com.
100.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure
numerals.
that it was numerals and not spelled out.
All right.
Just some context, though. This happened at the end of a day of Midwest Streaming. It was fairly late in the evening. It's post 6 o'clock, I believe. No one has eaten for a long, long time. We were hungry, we were tired, and we were sitting down in the hallway chatting when I realized, no, this would be a good thing to record.
Okay.
So here we are, Jessica Murphy, about the origins of 100 Days of Code with a little Rachel Watson sprinkled in.
Hi, I'm Jessica Murphy, and I am a Salesforce MVP. I am a consultant, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I started a few things. I've started Phoenix Salesforce Saturday and Women in Tech Developers and just a few other things, Sassy Tech Socials. But this is the story of 100 Days of Code, which became 100 Days of Trailhead. So, all right, so this is 2018. No, it's 2017. It's 2017. And I had a really bad flu, like this flu that everyone had. I was so sick. And I was laying in bed. I had this really high fever, just sick as a dog. And, okay, so my mind is constantly going. And those times when I'm sick or those times when I get quiet, like finally, like my mind can tell me things or that I haven't consciously focused on. So I was laying in bed and going, I don't feel well. And then I pop up and I say, we're doing 100 Days of Code. And Rachel was like, wait, what? We, WIT devs, we're doing 100 Days of Code. And she's like, you're sick, you have a fever. No, what we're doing is 100 Days of Code. This is happening, and I think it's going to be brilliant. Everybody's going to learn how to code in the whole world, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like going off. And she's like, okay, so I'll tell. So she was like, you're sick, just lay back down. So I am still talking. And so she looks at me and says, okay, I'll tell you what. why don't you write down all this chatter that you have going on in your brain? Why don't you write all this down and then go back to sleep? So what I did was I wrote all this chatter down a little bit. And then after I wrote the chatter down and after she left the room, I went on Twitter and went ahead and announced it. So I went ahead and announced that we were doing 100 days of code. And so she gets on her Twitter feed and says, did you just announce that to everyone? I'm like, yep, that just happened. We're doing 100 days of code. So starting January 2018, we did 100 days of code. And it was a beautiful thing because people got certifications and they became rangers and they did all the things. 100 Days of Trailhead was amazing. I mean, yeah, code was amazing. But we got feedback in the community that we weren't being inclusive enough. The admins wanted something for themselves. So we changed it to 100 Days of Trailhead and it became our own thing, our own hashtag. It's now even 100daysoftrailhead.com, even though I don't have much on that site yet. It's my blog. And and it's really, really been a beautiful thing. But yeah, the inception was fever, was the fever.
You're telling me
Yes.
that this was a fever dream,
Yes, it was.
which you have somehow brought into reality.
Yes.
Now, I have to ask because I have young kids who had just seen Dumbo. Were there pink elephants involved in this fever dream?
No, but there were pink-colored astros. And they were dancing. It was a fantastic dream. I mean, you all should have been there. Just saying it.
Jessica, would you recommend that anyone else who's experiencing flu-like symptoms is heavily sedated under the influence of some sort of virus, bacteria, or maybe pharmaceutical product should take that as time for creative inspiration and commit themselves to some sort of project that will last, let's say 100 days?
Probably not. But I did it anyway. It happened. Because, well, throw caution to the wind, Hey, why not?
Yeah, let's go post something on Twitter before we have thought everything through and ready and commit ourselves. On one hand, you're crazy. I love it. And on the other hand, that is still amazing that you went from something like that and you didn't back down. Because you could have totally said, I was sick. It was the Sudafed talking. I'm sorry.
And while the Sudafed probably was talking, and I could have backed down, even after I got better, I realized how important, how much it could actually help people. It wasn't like the 30 and 30 challenge that we had a few years ago where I was saying that we were saying get a badge a day. I was just saying get on Trailhead for 100 days. Like after I woke up from the fever dream, I realized that during the Christmas and holiday season at the end of the year, we're always thinking about everyone else. But my thought process is on January 1, think about yourself. Think about where do I want to go with my career? Do I want to get better? And get on Trailhead and learn something for 100 days. And the interesting thing about 100 Days of Code is that it became 100 Days of Trailhead, and now we have 2 tracks. The first track is purely a learning track. You just get on Trailhead and you just learn for 100 days. And I think there's even a contest. LBA does a contest where you get, how many badges you get. Ladies Be Architect, they have this contest where, how many badges you get, you can win, a prize. But we also have a second track, which is an app building track. And the app building track is take all this beautiful stuff that you've learned on Trailhead and build something. And it comes from this idea that Leah McGowan Hare said to me, Jessica, don't be a brand, be a builder. And so I want to spread that out into the ecosystem. Don't be a brand, be a builder. So take all those beautiful things and build something. You don't know. You might end up on the App Exchange. Oh, excuse me, App Store. Or app, what do we call it?
I still call it the App Exchange. But I'm an old man. Change is hard. And I find it really interesting you're saying don't be a brand to a man who's wearing a wizard hat everywhere he goes at Salesforce events.
But you are a builder as well. So that doesn't apply to you.
All right, and I have to ask, why 100 days?
Okay.
I mean, you said not 30 to 30, right? But, couldn't that have been, let's do 5 weekends, let's do 2 months, let's do 90 days. Why 100?
It could have really been a shorter amount of time, but there's this idea that if you do something, I think, for 90 days, it becomes a habit. And so
that explains my donut problem.
Yeah, it explains a lot of my, like, I was trying to come off of carbs and, well, now, no, I'm just teasing. But really, the idea is that you make something into a habit after you've done it for 90 days. So 100 days is just going 10 more days than those 90 and making it into a habit. So if your idea every day is that you're going to do a little piece of trailhead every day and learn this one thing, or you're going to work on an app every day and you're going to build this one little piece or try to solve this piece that's not working, then even after the 100 days, the likelihood is that you will continue. And it's really not about, this goal of 100 days. It's about making it habitual. It's about saying, this thing that I want to make my life better will help me, and I'm going to do it for this amount of time. And then after that time, every day you'll think about it. It's kind of like homework. So
No, I think I get it, because when I want to say it was 2013, my twins were still 1 year old. They're basically babies. And I had realized that I was drinking 12 cups of coffee every day and doing the jittery, crazy things. And that's obviously not healthy.
Right.
And I just so happened to have gotten a horrendous stomach bug where I couldn't hold anything down, forget caffeine. Water was challenging. So I was like, I've gone through 7 days without caffeine now because I couldn't take it. I've already suffered all the withdrawal symptoms. Let's see if I can do 8 days.
Right.
And then it became, let's see if it can be 2 weeks. Then it became a month. And I went 3 years without a drop of caffeine, unless you count chocolate, because I'm sorry, there's no way I'm giving up chocolate.
I get it.
Right? And that's all because of incremental change.
Right.
So personally, I don't think I could ever go through and say, I'm going to do X for 90 days. It has to be a slow progression to say, I think I will try to get over this small molehill. And then let's see if I can get over this anthill. Then let's see if I can get over the termite mound. And then finally we'll work our way up to the Himalayas.
Right. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are actually counting down for you. We're saying, this is day 1, right? This is day 20. And so we're counting for you. And we're saying every day, just do something. Just learn this little thing. You don't know how to put a field on a page, or you don't know how to work with a page layout. Do that today, just something small. And it can be anybody. This is the cool thing, the level set about 100 Days of Trailhead. You don't have to be an expert to be doing this. You can be brand new and say, I'm going to learn how to sign up for Trailhead today. That's actually something authentic you can do on day 1. A real thing, right? And it's incremental. It's small.
Did you have one of those signs that you would see, like stereotypical ones, like in workplaces, that say X many days since our last accident? It would be like, we're on X many days with Trailhead. Since obviously we don't want to say without Trailhead.
That actually is a good idea.
Copyright Brian Kwong, 2019.
We completely need to do, that's a real sign. My co-conspirator Rachel Watson is here, and hello. And I think that's actually a good idea. What do you think, Rachel?
I hear Simpsons music in the background.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly where. Yeah. No. No.
Different
Copyright.
song?
Can't do it.
Okay, I can't sing it.
No,
what?
Copyright infringement.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
But I'm singing it.
No, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. I think that'll be interesting. The question would be then: if someone falters, do you reset the clock?
No.
person.
Well, okay, it is up to the person. Okay, so the originator of 100 Days of Code says that if you stop, you can start over, at any time that you want to. Our official 100 Days of Trailhead is from January 1 until 100 days later, right? But it's really up to the individual. If you say, I've not done it and I want to start over, you can. If you say, I stopped here and I'm going to pick up here, that's up to you. Our official 100 days is between that time period, and that's when we have the prizes and all the things that we've created, the little fun things that we created. But really, honestly, you could do 100 Days of Trailhead at any time. If you decide, you can put the tweet out, I've committed to 100 Days of Trailhead. Today, do it. Go for it. and you have 100 days to just incrementally learn things or build something that you've always wanted to build. And that's the cool thing about this ecosystem. Like, especially when you are working at a job or you're a consultant, you can see those little things that need to be made. Commit yourself to 100 days of making it, right? And there you are.
Now, for some reason, as you're talking, all I can think of is the Peloton bike. You've seen those commercials, right, with the little bike, and it's got the little screen there with the athletic coach saying, "No, push it, you can do it, you can do it." And what they're really selling is not just the exercise bike, but they're really selling the programs,
Mm-hmm.
right, the trainers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me, is like you're on the screen, and instead of biking, you're doing trailhead.
Yeah.
And you just have a cheering team behind you.
Basically, yes.
Now, all we need to do is add a set of pedals to this, and now we can get fit while getting smart.
That is brilliant. Okay, wait. So
Copyright Brian Kwong 2019.
Yes. Okay, wait. Take the screen and put trailhead on the screen. And then you're like actually pedaling and doing trailhead at the same time. But what, like I am not one of those kind of people that can pat my head and rub, hop and all that. I can't do it. So what if someone can't do that? Like, how do we allow them to have fitness? Maybe some kind of...
So there's a couple things. One, I looked into this because I'm a very fat old man that needs to get into shape to be able to live to be 42. And they actually have bicycle and elliptical things that fit underneath your desk. So you can sit down in your desk chair and you can pedal away in your desk. And if you're like me, I'm bobbing my legs anyways, that might work. The other thing it could be, you could just build it in. So, I'm trying to, it's been a long time since I've done anything that involves fitness, but I remember it used to be, hey, you're doing something like yoga. Okay, now we're going to do a bunch of jumping jacks. You're taking a break from something that is one item to do something more cardio, and then you go back, right? So you could do, okay, we're going to do trailhead. Now that we finished this module, let's go do 10 minutes on the elliptical machine, or let's go do, I forget, what there's that horrible exercise where you jump up in the air, you crouch down, you do a push-up.
Burpee.
Yes, burpees. I hate them with a passion. It's no wonder I forgot the name because I've repressed it. God, I did that one and I never recovered. And, but you could do something like that, right?
Yes.
Maybe not in the office. That might look a little weird unless you work at home. But you could you could do, okay, we're going to do a module. Let's do 10 chopping jacks. Let's do a module. Let's go do 20 chopping jacks. You could do it incrementally like that too. Get fit and smart.
Actually, you are onto something. Okay, so the first year that we did it, it was hashtag 100 days of code, but it was also 100 days of X, which could be 100 days of yoga, 100 days of exercise, or anything like that. So you can actually add 100 days of meditation. You could actually add a
100 days of
hashtag
gluttony
on.
of donuts?
Yes, 100 days of donuts, different types of donuts. I mean, do they have 100 different types of donuts, do you think?
Oh, depending on how you define different, absolutely.
I think that you're onto something with 100 days of donuts.
This donut only had 80 sprinkles. That one had 100.
See, I love it. I think more like cream filled or, jelly filled and like sprinkles and then chocolate and then like different types of chocolate to make sure that like chocolate is put in there often.
Well, you have cake, you have raised, you have chocolate cake, you have chocolate raised, you have chocolate frosted, you have chocolate frosted with sprinkles. You have the chocolate sprinkles that are raised, chocolate covered sprinkles, or with sprinkles that are chocolate cake and raised. And
this sounds like the best 100 days of trailhead ever. Like
I feel
trailhead
fatter
and donuts.
already.
Well, no. Well, okay, so wait, 100 days. So the first part of it, we can eat donuts while we're doing trailhead, and then the second part, we can exercise while we're doing trailhead. What do you think?
I think what will turn out for me is the first part, we end up eating donuts. And the second part, we end up eating donuts.
Gotcha.
Because
okay.
by that point, I'm already halfway through making it a habit, so you might as well finish.
So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we forego the donut idea and do 100 days. Do 100 days of trailhead and exercise. Like,
How about 100 days of pancakes?
Pancakes are fantastic, but if you wait 100 days of
LARPing.
LARPing?
100 days of LARPing?
You want to do live action role playing? Do you do live action role playing? I want to see a video of that. That would be amazing.
I ran around the woods with spell packets, yes.
As a wizard, I compliment you. That is amazing.
I got chased through the woods by a wraith.
Are we talking like Stargate Atlantis Wraith? Or are we talking about like Dungeons & Dragons Wraith that's kind of a ghost?
Dungeons & Dragons wraith.
Okay, so more fantasy than sci-fi. I'm sorry, we take a rest. So I'm sorry, you were
So the
complimenting
jokes.
me on my 100-day donuts and pancakes.
Yes, I'm loving the idea.
Waffles,
I'm loving the idea, but let's rethink this maybe towards.
cake,
What about drinking water?
ice cream.
Water.
You know, maybe we should have done this after I've eaten dinner.
Yeah, we haven't eaten dinner. I think that's the real problem here. So, time to go get dinner, I guess. Water and exercise. Water.
But not at the same time, because that's a choking hazard. Have you ever tried drinking water while you're doing jumping jacks? No, it's not a smart idea. It's not. You're going to aspirate. So obviously, you do your trailhead, sip your water, do your jumping jacks, then turn the fan on because you're over hot, because if you're like me, you're still carrying winter insulation, and then you drink some more water because you just sweated out the drops that you drank beforehand. You do a little bit more trailhead.
I think we have to plan for next year.
We're going with donuts, right? That's what we settled on?
No. Trailhead,
This is going to be
water,
really difficult for me to participate.
exercise. Oh, we're just trying to get better as people. Donuts, they're delicious, but we want to get healthier and stronger.
There needs to be a healthy donut.
Hold on.
Well,
But would it taste
it would have
good?
to be. It would have to taste good. You know, I will admit there are vegetables that I do find tasty, as long as someone else made them for me.
Okay, wait. So I'm going to
So-
go on a train of thought, and you guys help me. Okay, so do you remember Willy Wonka, or was it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? And you remember?
Come with me.
Wait, hold on. Did you say
and
there's
you'll
problems with
be
singing? Okay, wait.
in a
So
world
wasn't
of-
there a piece of gum that like was a full dinner that the little
Yes.
girl? Okay, so imagine if like that was Trailhead, or
I don't think you want to use that analogy because the little girl who stole that gum
Oh,
turned
that's
into a
true.
blueberry.
And they had to juice her.
She was juiced.
but
And juicing in a different context can mean steroids. So are you condoning people to use steroids in order to get on trailhead?
no, I'm thinking about like donuts, like a donut that it actually ends up being like exercising. So like instead of the
Do you
donut,
know how freaking rich we would be if we could develop a donut that did the exercise equivalent?
do they have
But they have a cookie diet now, so they need to come up with a donut diet.
The reason why it's quiet because I just spent the last 5 minutes with my jaw hanging open because I can't believe there's such a thing as a cookie
yes,
diet.
there's a cookie diet.
Are we talking computer cookies or chocolate chip?
There's like these protein chocolate chip cookies. It's a legit thing.
It's true. True story. Hold on here.
There's a such thing. Use the Googles.
That is Google plural.
The
We
interwebs.
so need to eat dinner.
We really do.
Okay, Rachel, I will take your word for it because I'm not whipping out my phone in the middle of an interview like Jessica is to
Jessica's
look up cookie
Jessica's
diet.
already on Google.
The cookie diet for weight loss. Keep it off fast. And so it's these cookies.
That are so disgusting that you not only will not eat one, but if you do eat one, you'll be so violently ill you're not going to want to eat for the next week. Weight loss accomplished.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about, the donut diet.
Sorry, does that say lemony snicket cookie? Oh no, that's
the
no,
donut
okay.
diet. And the donut diet is you eat donuts, but actually it's like you exercise for 30 minutes and drink all of your water for the day. Like that completely needs to be developed. I think we could develop that on the platform. What do you think?
Have you seen The Lion King?
Once or twice.
Are you familiar with the circle of life?
Yes, I am.
For me, that's the donut. The donut represents the circle of life, both because we come into this world, we discover donuts, we consume the donuts. The donuts are our downfall, and we turn to the earth. It is the circle of life, or technically death in this case. But I'm not sure I can do 100 days of exercise unless you count maybe like raising my hand a couple times. Does that count? I mean, I'm also wearing a Fitbit, so this is terribly horrible for a person wearing a Fitbit saying that I'm not going to be exercise. But at the same time, oh yeah, I'm only at 7,900 steps.
Yeah.
That's about 7,000 more than normal.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we do the hashtag 100 days of getting fitter, 100 days of exercise. So what's the next goal on your Fitbit? that's really it. It's incremental change. So basically what I'm saying is that
Yeah,
on
right
day
now my
one,
goal on my Fitbit's charge it because it was at 20%.
Yeah. So start by charging it. So it wouldn't be on day one to do all of the steps. It would be like to do like 5 more steps than you did today.
Now, how would you decide how to increment it? Would you do it as a percentage? Like you say, hey, by the end of 100 days, I want to do 100,000 steps. So therefore, I'll divide 100 or 100,000 by 100 to figure out how many do I need to do a day? Or, would you average it? Or would you do like an increasing percentage? Like on day 1, I think I'll do 1%. Day 2, I'll do 1.5%. Day 3, I might do 2%. Will you do it that way? Or would it be more exponential? Where I'll do 1, and then tomorrow I'll do 2, and then the next day I do 4, and the next day I do 8, and the next day I do a 16.
Okay, so I'm going to give 2 answers
32.
to that. I'm going to give 2 answers to that.
64.
The first answer
128.
is
256.
I love the fact that you thought about this so analytically.
512.
That's beautiful. So that is one of the answers. You
1024.
absolutely can't do it that way. You can do it that way. But here's another way that you could do it. How I taught myself how to run. I taught myself how to run.
You didn't know how to run before?
No, I did not know how to run.
Isn't it like walking just really fast?
No, it's actually running. It can be walking fast.
I love how you define running by saying it's running.
It's running. But, okay, so I decided that I wanted to lose weight. And so I started by deciding that I was going to run every day or do something like running every day for 30 minutes. So the first 5 minutes and last 5 minutes are warm up and cool down. And then I started off by walking for 4 minutes and then trying to run for 1. And I did that over and over and over for 3 weeks. And then 3 weeks later, I did walking for 3 minutes and attempting to run for 2. And then, the same way over and over until I was running 5 minutes and 5 minutes and 5 minutes until I got up to about 30 minutes. And it really, really was incremental, and it helped me reach my goal. And same is true with Trailhead.
All right. I think I'm sold on the incremental increase.
Yeah.
Although I will be honest, the best way for me to lose weight is to put one of my children down on the ground. Because it's an instant 40-pound drop.
And while that's helpful, you don't always carry your children around with you. I think
in my heart.
In your
either that or it's heart disease, one of the two.
While you do burpees.
Now that is a way that can work.
Do not suggest it. My girls will do that to me.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about. I used to climb on my dad too. I'd just climb up and let he'd do things, and I would,
My 3-year-old sits on my shoulder and pretends to be a parrot.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. That's fantastic. That sounds heavy on your shoulder.
He's 40-some pounds. He is heavy.
Oh, wow.
And instead of crackers, he demands gummy worms and cookies.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And then he wants to sit on your shoulder as a parrot.
Yes, and always my left shoulder for some reason. So that's why I'm like limping halfway. I'm kind of Igor-ish without the bump now.
Okay, so here's the thing. You can use that during your 100 days of exercise, right?
You are so darn good at bringing us back on topic, Jessica.
You know why? Because the 100 days, really, really is amazing. It's fun.
All right. So if people want to get involved with 100 days, since you just said yourself that you don't have a lot on your website, where should they go if they want to participate and get involved?
Okay, so there are a couple of things that you can do. You can go to 100 Days of Trailhead, and hopefully by the time people
100 Days of Trailhead.com.
That is my blog that I need to post more things to, like the winners from this year, and and then also Twitter, my Twitter feed. I talk about it. I've talked about it quite a bit, and when they're ready, I even have the tweet that they can put out there, which is, I am going to participate in 100 Days of Trailhead with women in tech developers. And it's not just for women in tech. It's for all the people. It's for everyone, because we could all use the benefit of 100 days of thinking about what to do next in our career, and exercising, and probably not eating as many donuts, but maybe some of the diet cookies, because that might be a thing. I don't know. I have to look and see what's in them. I'm not quite sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Jessica and Rachel, for doing the impromptu podcast. I joke, but on my way to Midwest Dreaming, I did stop at my favorite donut shop, and I did buy a half a dozen donuts, and I've only eaten 2. So I have 4 donuts currently waiting for me in my hotel room, partially because I have no willpower, and partially because I know when I go to these events, I usually find someone to talk to, and I forget to eat dinner. So now that it is 8:10 in the evening, and we all have to be up early for Midwest Dreaming.
Yes.
We should probably find something to eat.
I'm thinking that's a good idea.
That is not a donut.
Yes.
So at least I won't go back to my hotel room and eat my donuts.
Okay, that's good. All right, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We have a lot planned for 2020 this year. We got interviews with product managers. We have interviews with vice presidents of
so many interviews.
Things. We have interviews upon interviews. Great year for the WizardCast, which is produced by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, directed by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, technical administration by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, script writing by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, audio editing by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, website maintenance by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, and our intern this episode was Dave Blank.
Did you forget to write in his last name?
It's Blank.
So what is it? You didn't write it down. You have to say it out loud.
It's BLANK Blank.
Okay, but you can put all the emphasis you want on it. It's still not there. Can you say his damn name?
I may be pronouncing it wrong. Maybe it's Blank.
It doesn't matter what dialect or language you say it in.
Blanket.
It's not. You gotta pronounce. You gotta tell the name to the listeners.
Maybe the B's silent and it's just Lank.
Now you're just messing with me. But regardless of Brian's inability to actually say our interns' names, you can be an intern too.
Sorry,
Just
Dave.
follow us at WizardCast_pod on Twitter.
Or share the pictures you take with us at Salesforce events. Share them on social media so we can get you added to the list.
Have a joke, interview suggestion, or other comments? Let us know. You can call and leave a voice recording at 608-492-0321 or email wizardcast@thewizardnews.com.
And it's a new season, so that means we're going to be doing a new Idea Exchange highlight where we highlight ideas from the Idea Exchange. If you got one, regardless if you voted it, posted it, commented it, or think it's terrible, please let us know.
Go to bit.ly/idea highlight to submit that idea to us.
Don't forget to subscribe to the WizardCast and receive our next episode automatically.
And please post reviews on Apple Podcasts, aka iTunes, and share this episode. It helps others to hear what you just had to endure.
Once again, I'm Brian.
And I'm...
What was that?
Oh, nothing. Just a message from my buds back in the forest.
Okay.
Back in the Pac-No, Pacific Northwest.
What is your shoe size? Thanks for listening.
That's a rather personal question, don't you think?
Here, what do you think of that interview, Mark? I can do things without you, apparently.
No.
What, you think the interview was awful?
No, I just refused to concede the point.
That I can do things without you?
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping to lead up to the least you leaving me alone when I need to use the restroom. There are some things I can do by myself now.
Look, I want attention.
Okay, no, we can't do that.